Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Live broadcast of the USA Cycling Race League presented by Saris and the Pros Classic. I'm Nathan Guerra. Next to me virtually is Dave Toll coming out of Colorado. We're Zwift Community Live, and today we are doing race number 7 of this 10-race series. It's been going from April 22nd all the way through July 24th, 10 races with, I believe we're going to have, there are 3 races a day, or at least 3 different time zones that people can race in throughout the day. We are doing the afternoon race. We got men's and women's events specifically with A, B, C, D categories in each one of them. We'll be covering the A race. Dave, we're out on the Libby Hill after party, Richmond. This is a world you know well.
Yeah, some of my best memories come from Richmond, Virginia. This was cycling mad city back in 2015, late September. For our friends at USA Cycling, this was a glorious week of racing for sure. This was, when you look at the pro race, this is Peter Sagan's first ever world championship. Lizzie Dinan, then she was Lizzie Armistad, winning for the pro women. But I want to go a year before that. The USA Cycling had their collegiate national championships. Corinne Rivera, hard to believe in 2015 that she was a senior at Marion, but she had an amazing ride here on the cobblestones. But Nathan, we can talk about the racers. We can talk about the course because today's going to be quick and, 33 kilometers of racing with all of the elevation coming at you in the last 600 meters at 6%. So taking a look at the start line here, but let's go back and review. You said this was the 7th of 10. And there's the man who's been dominating things, the Canadian Brett Boniface. Brian Hodges, the American, coming in second based on points. The Irishman, but we call him an American as well. Cormac McGeough from Durango, Colorado, sitting in third. Mike Cumming in fourth. The young, talented Vigo Moore. I believe Vigo on the Lux team is only 17 years old, and he's had a win out here as well. Good job, Vigo. Shell Power, Scotty Weiss, George Mills Keeling. We love George racing out of England. Nicholas Patterson and the Twig. That's our top 10 for the A's. Nathan, I'll throw it back to you for the B's.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and jump. We're going to go across all the categories. Thanks a lot, Dave. And so it will be Blake Erblow there with 156 points, and Chuck Coyle followed up by Dustin Byers at your top 3. Ian Mulligan, Dan Paltial, Ryan Tweeten, Kevin Baker for R. And then it is London Warburton for, it looks like, racing with his USA Cycling number in there as well. Judd Nutting, and then it's going to be Robert Smith in the 10th place. For the C category, it's going to be Christian McDonald. Good to see Christian hammering away. Look at that lead he's had out there. Longtime viewer. Good to see him at the top there. Justin Evans, Daryl Southwood, Henry Burson, Frederick Bandini, Kerry Wilson, followed up by Lauren Cronell. And then it's going to be Merrick Rickman, Matthew Robinson, and CBs for your top 10 overall. Go ahead, Dave, for the D's.
Hey, you bet. Daniel Stevens has been doing a great job out there. Look at that nice 27-point advantage he has over the mighty Jay Saunders out of England. Third place right now is going to be, so all Americans here. And I will highlight, Nathan, how you can get your breakout with your USA Cycling number when I'm done here. But Daryl Askey sitting in third, Cameron Lady in fourth, David Schaefer in fifth, Kevin Klein, Bill Whitman, Simon Jones. That's the flag of Wales. Good to see. Lynn Hughes. And then Rami Youssef. So all riders from around the world are welcome to race with us here on World Bicycle Day. Nathan, wanted to wish you a happy World Bicycle Day. I know that's a big part of your life. But for all of our Americans, you can see that the way to enter your USA Cycling license number, best way to do it is actually just to put in a parentheses, then the U, capital USAC, then a space, then your license number, and then end parentheses. And that's it. That'll get you into special scoring for only USA Cycling members. But again, anybody from around the world is welcome to race. We've got the women. They'll be starting about 5 minutes later. Lauren Stevens and company will be out on course. But there you go. Actually, Lauren Stevens now has asserted herself. She has been on a roll, an esports domination tour for Lauren Stevens. Caroline Murray out of Scotland sitting in second. Christy Tracy out of Austin, Texas in third. Daniela Estrate is the Romanian rider sitting in fourth. Clara James here in fifth. Monali Keller, the Canadian, in sixth. Boy, Shani Berger just lit it up in our first couple races, but she hasn't been attending lately. We'll see if she's in our field today. The rider out of Israel sitting in seventh. Then we've got Kei Takashita from Japan in eighth. Our friend Charlotte Backus and Morgan Chafin, the two Americans rounding out our top 10. That's the A's, Nathan. And I'll throw it to you for the Bs.
Bryn, looks like in the B category, Christy Brinker, 156 points, followed up by News Bomber. Anna, it looks like Shvez. I'm going to try this one. Shvezgeyev. It sounds Russian.
I'll give that to you. I'm going to score that as a win. Yeah.
Thea Freestad. That's going to be Jessica McWirt. And forward there, Diz, followed up by Janine Seeger. And then Svenja Scheller. And it's going to be Heather Downing. And in the C category, we're looking at Christine Culver. Shout out to her. Followed up by Kim Beezer, Sarah Blanton, Kirsten Catronis, Autumn Winky, Katie looks like her, and then Wendy Skeen, followed by Ariel Van Haren and Carissa Min. Big shout out to Min. Carissa Min, always needing to calm down for those of you who have seen her. Long time viewer, as well as admin. The admin is in there with 9th place, and it looks like Kate Guy rounding out the top 10. And over to the D's there, Dave.
Well, thank you, Nathan. So we've got Elizabeth DeWitt, the Canadian, leading. She's got just a 2-point advantage over the American Melissa Avery. Cam Sutuan, another American, sitting in 3rd and in contention as well. It's going to be fun racing out there, ladies. Mary Whitehead, the Scottish rider, in 4th. Then we've got Emma Jimenez Palos in 5th. S. Patterson in 6th. Kelly Harmon. Actually, they're tied, so I want to note that. Harmon and Patterson there. Then we've got Eileen Ray in 8th. Kimber Fisher and Linda Eller Edinburgh Ankermark, the Swedish rider, in 10th. Nathan, I love the fact that we have all of these different categories out there racing. You find the right group for you based on your watts per kilo or your FTP. And looks like we're going to jump right in here. As we're going to have a lot of riders out on course here. As Nathan, we'll actually have 8 different races going on here. Big thank you to Saris and the Pros Closet. Happy World Bicycle Day, everybody. Get ready to enter the pain cave. However, is this going to be a quick 33 kilometers of racing, and the sting is in the tail today with that wicked climb. And those cobblestones, Nathan, you know how in America, at least for our friends around the world, I'm sure they see a little bit of this, but you see modern cobblestones, like where they lay cement and then take a kind of a cookie cutter kind of thing and make cobblestones. These are real cobblestones. They were laid, I'm going to say 150 years ago, but I mean, the classic cobblestone technique. They are rough. It's not like you're in the Ehrenberg forest or something where they're just vicious. They're pretty smooth and they're well cared for, let's say. But even in Zwift, you feel it. You really, getting up this climb is brutal. It's only 600 meters, but it seems like it's steeper than 6%, doesn't it? Or is that just me?
It does at times. I mean, it does get into 8% at times. And the other reality of it is it's so sharp, so fast. I mean, essentially What we have here is a 1 minute. I mean, okay, depending on how aggressive this pack is, we may have, depending on what the racers do, how aggressive they get. The dropouts are here. Legion is here, it looks like, as well. It also looks like Project Echelon has shown up, so we may have some attacks early on. It's going to be so difficult, though, to get away from this pack that I have a feeling this may set up for essentially a 1 minute hill climb challenge. Who's the fastest? You know, at the end of the day, if nobody gets away, they're going to calm right on down and looking toward Libby Hill. What do you got after 5 laps, of this sprint course?
This is one of the most elaborate warm-ups that you're ever going to see for what's basically a 1 kilometer effort. You're not going to probably, Nathan, if you talk about it, hitting the bottom, and it is severe. I actually, Nathan, was lucky enough to have announced in real life at that Richmond Worlds, and one of the things that happened that day that I'd never experienced before, and it was mostly during the elite women and men's race, was that the number of SRM head units, it wasn't Garmin's back in 2015 as much as SRM had. I had 12 different SRMs turned in at the World Championship announcer stand. As I was announcing all day, I was just there with my friend Craig Webb, who was helping out and as the official UCI speaker there. People said, well, what do we do with all these SRMs? So they gave them to me. So I ended up mailing, like Jens Kukeler is one of the Belgian riders that lost his, and he found out where they were turned in and got in touch with me on Facebook, and I mailed it back to him in Belgium later. He was appreciative. He said he'd buy me a beer. I haven't run into him yet, but it was just, that's how severe.
Just for that reason.
For that beer. Right. He rode for the Orica Green Edge team then, which Yeah. So, anyways, Nathan, back to the action and really confirming what you said. In real life, it was so severe going because that section, then, so the last 3K, you kind of drop down into an area that actually would flood pretty recently, and it's a flood zone down there when you go down by the river. You pop back up, you kind of it's a false flat before you hit the bottom of that. You make that hard right hand turn. It's basically almost a 180-degree turn. You hit the cobblestones and you start climbing. The race starts before that. That's for sure. I mean, the race has started now. Obviously, you need to stay in this group. But Nathan, you have taught me so much about how to race. I mean, talk about a steep learning curve. One thing, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The name of the game right now is to be burning your pilot flame at the lowest level of any racer out here, right? And that man's not going to play that game. I love it. Let's go. That's going to be H Lord attacking here. But Nathan, again, this is a dangerous game to play because right now you're burning matches that you're probably going to want by the time you hit Libby Hill.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try and see who this rider is here. Unfamiliar with the name, but they are shutting it down immediately here. He doesn't want to play any sit-around games, that's for sure, it looks like. Now coming over the top, there's going to be a TTC rider. Now jumping into 8 watts per kilogram. Some of these riders just having a little bit of fun here, it looks like, with the sprint section, which is interesting to see. Perhaps, I mean, there's no points available I'm aware of here, but maybe a couple of riders here just having a little bit of fun. We see the Alien under 16 giving a little dig, loving the name there with the innovation kit off the front a little bit. Unwin following it up. Mclean there, it looks like, from the Cannondale team as well. Mclean, this is a strong rider actually with a little bit of an attack. This is a counter, and this is a good move. 8 watts per kilogram. Now, if they continue this on, we may start to see this to actually pay off. We'll have to wait and see if the riders continue with this. But you have to have the whole pack almost in agreement that we're not going to sit around. You know what I mean? The whole pack almost has to say, look, we're going to really push the pace. We're not going to just sit around. We are going to definitely work out here today. In the women's race, they're just getting off the line, it looks like here, and things already in a little bit of trouble. Jay Lee off the back, a couple others. It look like Daniela here from Revo with Strate now sitting on the back 3.4, so looks like things are calming down a little bit where they can sit in, bunching up, and I think they're going to go Grupo Compacto for a while. It was a pretty fast start. They dropped a few, but it looks like now it's calmed right on down for the women's start here as we watch them get underway, it looks like. And I need to change those up.
Such a challenging course for a rider like Lauren Stevens to win on here today. I mean, when you look at it, there's just not much for her to work with. But she still remains, in my mind, every race she starts, the rider to beat. We're actually back with the men right now. I'll jump in. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about the women here as well, Nathan. We will be focusing here again on the A's for the men and the women. It's just too much, unfortunately. Sometimes you have to realize where your limits are. And for us, covering 2 awesome races at once seems to be about where we can keep the quality level where we want. We start doing everybody, and then everyone's a loser out there. It's been interesting for sure.
There's a quotable from Dave. Everyone's a loser out. No, well, everybody's
too much, right?
we end up being the losers. Maybe we end up being the losers out there because we're trying to do too much. I love it.
I couldn't agree more. So we focus on what you can manage, right? So we know we can make 2 good pizzas at a time. And this is going to be the women's race with Stevens here. Oh boy, Nathan, taking a look at little gaps opening up. I always know that you think it's going to be straight ahead when you look at 33 kilometers. There's a kick at the end. Sting is in the tail. Well, these racers are fantastic. They always make interesting things happen out here, as this is their canvas to race on. They always put on a show. Stephanie Sidlick out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She spent time racing with the ABD Foundation. Listen, Charlotte Backus, if you don't already have a favorite e-racer, go ahead and choose Charlotte. She is a wonderful spirit racing out of Utah. She's hanging around in Park City, but a Colorado kid. And these are some of the names that we love seeing out here every week in our USA cycling. There's Emily Newsom, very strong rider on the Tibco team, was our Tour of the Hilo Sprint champion. And in real life, Emily Newsom is a mom. One of the coolest riders in the peloton. She's got, when you talk about the origin story, Nathan, I love Emily's, because Emily Newsom's origin story is all about family. I love seeing Fiona Schroeder out there, the German rider, a young talented rider. I can't wait to see what she's going to do in the sport of cycling. She's already making her mark, so keep it going as we take a look here at a group that looks like they're working pretty well together. Nathan, when they say over race radio, you hear it's Grupo Compacto, this is what they're talking about. Everyone all together right now.
Yeah, interesting to see here today. A lot of focus coming from the Evoke team, and they're an American-based sponsor of that squad. And Evoke, Jackie Herrig showed up, it looks like, as well as Annie Poland, Angela Pitzer, Laura Mastin-Coe, and Michelle Henry, all showing up on the day here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 riders from Team Evoke. I've been watching out for Evoke today. I think that they are on something, on some sort of mission to take this race specifically out, because they are the most stacked team on the day from what I can see from the start list.
I absolutely agree. I'm a big fan of this squad as well. Pitzer, Poland, Herrig, Coe, and Henry. They've done a great job representing what eRacing's all about as well. So keep an eye on the Evoke ladies. Nathan, when you take a look at this women's field here, this is going to be the quality over quantity race, no doubt. We've got a lot of strong women, attentive and experienced esports racers in this field. So we always find a worthy winner out here. There's no gimmies in e-racing, that's for sure. But it is, and if you've been watching us over the last couple months, it's no secret that I'm a big fan of Lauren Stevens. I love what she's done out here. And seeing her embracing this sport for the Tibco SVB team and what they've done under the direction of Linda Jackson has been nothing short of inspirational. I'm not even this morning when I hopped on Zwift, I saw that Lauren Stevens was leading yet another group ride. She and her husband, Matt, they're based out of Dallas, Texas. They are extremely active in this community, not just racing, but the community part of the community, right, Nathan? They're friends of folks and just get out and go for spins as well. So the bicycle's a beautiful thing. It's worth celebrating here on World Bicycle Day, that's for sure. As even though it's a virtual game that we're playing, the bicycle's a big part of this conversation, isn't it? A passion for cycling is a beautiful thing. Christy Tracy has it, that's for sure.
We're looking through here, and you see how many verified badges there are in this race out here today. I mean,
Nathan, can I explain for folks what it would take to get that verified badge? Does that mean you're just a pro? Is that basically
essentially there's there is the UCI World Tour. There's also so Bo Jackson would have a verified badge though too, right?
Perfect example.
So he's not a professional rider, but he's obviously was a professional baseball player, but he has a name in the world.
I wonder, is that the real Bo Jackson?
Exactly. And so if you have that certain status in the world in which somebody would want to replicate you and ruin your name, perhaps, that's one of the main reasons verified badges exist. There's also a status that comes with it, but if your name is out there in the public sphere enough in online worlds where people can steal your identity, verified badges on accounts are very important. So there's that side of it as well, is that, but for the UCI World Tour, though, that's reserved. UCI World Tour is reserved for the little orange pro jerseys. Verified badges are a little different. You can also see the green jersey here for pro. Jackie Herrig, obviously riding professional triathlete. That's what the green jersey is all about there, because green is the represent, and then the pink purple, obviously, if there's a professional runner, is going to have the professional running jersey, and so on and so forth as far as that goes.
You.
So,
perfect example then. So, if Madonna was out here racing with the women, she would be verified as Madonna, but she wouldn't get a UCI World Tour verification. Right?
Yeah. For some reason, I want to think of Madonna. I'm trying to get some Madonna lyrics in my head right now to go along with this reference.
The funny thing is, sadly, Madonna, who I'm sure is super fit, would probably not make it to this point of the bike race with these ladies. They're at another level out here. As we're picking up the action, you can see Nathan going split screen for us here with the men on one side as we're riding along with the gingerbread man, and then Herring over here with the women, one of the Evoke riders. We've been talking about Evoke coming in with 5 on their team. Makes a big difference. Today, it's going to be interesting. Again, 33 kilometers. It's not going to be certainly less than 40 minutes, probably less than 38 minutes us before we're done and dusted here in Richmond, Virginia. Our friends at Richmond Region Tourism have some special giveaways, Nathan, all kinds of cool stuff that look like stuff that would be pretty useful for the summertime, I would say. They know how to have a good time in Richmond, that's for sure. So make sure that as you're following along, you get yourself involved in that as well. As we're motoring through the first third pretty quickly here with the men, I'm not surprised at all, Nathan, that we haven't seen any kind of serious attack go up the road. If that does happen, it's going to be one all-in jailbreak that we see, and I'd expect that to happen sometime inside of 5K to go. You have a lot more experience, Nathan, with this kind of thing. This is a unique course when you talk about what we're calling Libby Hill, which was one of the 3 climbs that made up this World Championship circuit. Libby Hill, 23rd, and Governors are what you'd call the sectors of significance out here. But Nathan, everything all together still, what do you think? Do we see 4 or 5 riders give it a go? Of course we do, right?
Yeah, we're seeing Kershaw actually put a little move in here. PTZ Pro looks like with that verified bad. PTZ Portugal team recently making some big pickups actually from in real life pro racing. So it looks like the rider going off the front there for just a moment, but we'll see if they bring him back on in to the pack. They're not too concerned, it looks like, as we are getting a couple of riders disappearing here. We'll see if we can get him back into the screen in just a moment here. But I believe that's just on client side for us here. A couple of attacks here on the women's side of things, though, real quickly here. It does look like they're starting to ramp things up, actually. Interesting to see Schroeder as well as Newsom. Team Tipco on the attack here, actually, on this little 2% uphill gradient now. And
that's a really nice...
to see.
Sorry, Nathan. That's a really nice 2-rider combination to work together. The young German here, Schroeder, she's a big talent. She really is. Newsom, we've identified as one of the stronger Americans out racing. So going up and over the top, that's going to be Fiona Schroeder here with the Fear team and that really cool kit as well. Fiona's got it going on, no doubt. So, but they're not going to let the German, they're not going to give her any leash here. As you can see, an attentive women's field here. Anna Russell, we love Anna, the rider out of New Zealand, the pro triathlete who's given us a run for our money in the broadcast booth. She's a real multi-dimensional talent, Nathan. I'm a big fan of Anna Russell. Watch out for her today. Natalia Franco, here we go. This is a 2020 rider. They got their in-game kit looking good. Franco's going to be getting caught in a little tough situation here, but she's strong. She'll be able to recover from this. You don't want to do this too many times, though, Nathan. Not ideal.
She's just recovering from 183 beats per minute here, so she's hanging on. It does look like a 2-second gap is opening up here. She's got to go across right now,
racing.
though. They are racing. They saw that 2% uphill gradient, and you know this might come down to a little bit of course knowledge, not knowing that 2% uphill gradient, but on the front it was Newsom and Stevens that pressed the pace there. Angela Pitzer just trying to hang on. That's your U.S. national champion here in the U.S. national champions kit there with Evoke. She's got a lot of teammates. They might send some to the back here, but they continue to press the pace. It looks like Franco does have this chase group 4 seconds back. Ricci's on the front. Will they be able to pull it back? That's gonna be the question, because it does look like Newsom is not slowing down, or is that Stevens off the front now at this point? No, Newsom continues. It's Newsom actually with Christy Tracy from Saris Infinite trying to go across here. We could have a 2-up, but Jackie Herrig from Evoke looking to shut things down, it looks like.
Boy, they are really hitting hard on the front here. Boy, it was interesting to see when Pitzer got back into the group. She went right through it to get up to the front. So obviously she's feeling good today, and they're going to nail this one back. So it's just cover and kill. They've made a selection out here. So Nathan, we're going to take some inventory right now. This women's race is very dynamic. I love so Tipco SVB has 2 riders out here, Lauren Stevens, but right now it has definitely been her teammate, Emily Newsom, who's been doing extensive damage. Christy Tracy, another rider out of Texas, did a good job. And that pink jersey is going to be, pink hat and socks is going to be Lauren Stevens. Lauren Stevens is not going to play around. Nathan, I can feel we are going from simmer to boil very quickly here as we hit 10K. So we're not even a third of the way in. Lauren Stevens, the evil conductor, she's going to start punching more tickets here. Nathan, we could lose another 4, 5, 6 riders out of this group with the way Tipco is racing. They are just slaying it. Look at this. It's going to be Caroline Murray, the Scottish rider. She's trying to come up and over the top here. Emily Berry, the Canadian. Boy, this is turning into a who's who very quickly, Nathan.
Yeah, now Pitzer here suffering off the back again, pushing 4.9 watts per kilogram. She's got to get back on terms, it looks like here. Doesn't look like there's too many teammates at the back of the pack giving her a wheel. She will be able to manage it. It did look like Stevens tried to give it a go. If she would have continued on, maybe would have been able to do a little bit more damage here. 27 seconds back, it looks like we are not going to see a close down from the Franco group here. 3 riders working together. This is a chase group. Russell here now sitting in, and with the speeds of this pack, it's not coming back. Stevens tried to give it a go, saw it got shut down, and then cools the jets, it looks like, knowing that that wasn't going to really pay off. But it does look like these ladies that have some experience in this course know that each lap there is a little bit of an uphill grind that they have to take on. And that 2% gradient there definitely doing some damage out on course.
That might have been some foreshadowing, to tell you the truth, Nathan, for something to look forward to. Tibco only has 2 riders, but they operate like a squad of 8 out here, to tell you the truth, because Emily Newsom can set the table. And Lauren Stevens is happy to lick her plate clean when we get up to the finish line there on Libby Hill, because that climb will suit Stevens. A 600-meter power effort like that, that's right up her alley. But riders like Christy Tracy are going to try to upset the apple cart out here. We have a lot of riders to talk about. I mean, we mentioned the New Zealander Anna Russell earlier. Caroline Murray is another name. Fiona Schroeder has been phenomenal. This under 20 talent out of Germany. But we're going to go back and pick it up with the British rider Bevin here, Jonathan Bevin, a rider to watch, Nathan. He comes in.
It's James
Bevin, one of our top 5 ranked riders in this race here, to tell you the truth. Look at all these international flags here for our USA Cycling Saris, the Pros Closet race. That's a good call. I mean, James Bevin definitely comes in as what would you say? I mean, if you're going to lock down a trifecta, putting the 3 riders who are going to be on the podium, he would be a brilliant choice for one of those 3. But these spots are going to be hotly contended out here, Nathan. We got some heavy hitters. And I'm going to go back and start looking at the men's race now. But I'm thinking that George Mills Keeling is a rider I'd really be watching for today, without any doubt. I think this day might be his breakthrough win, the rider out of England. Watch out.
I think, Bevin has a crazy kick, but because of the uphill about 1 minute, I mean, you go up against Bevin in a 10-second sprint, it's
unbeatable.
It's almost unbeatable. Right. Almost unbeatable. Yep. Very, very difficult day. I haven't seen what he can do at this 1 minute or so kind of power, so we'll have to wait and see, because this is going to really be about who has 30 seconds. A sprinter could maybe get away with it, or a little bit more of a puncher. 1 minute, 1 minute starts to kind of push it out a little bit. It's going to be right around maybe, but this Libby Hill after party, because it's all in, you don't necessarily go completely all in ever over Libby Hill unless it's this specific KOM finish. And we don't see this very often. This is a very special course actually out here today as far as that goes, as what kind of effort and who's it's going to favor. I'm kind of really up in the air. I think you're right. A light rider with a lot of kick, going to have a huge advantage out here today.
So Keeling, Nathan, can do, about 9.5 watts per kilo for a minute. So I'm going to Zwift Power to find this, as you could. That's not any secret. But that's right in the neighborhood of what these guys do, isn't it? Right around 10 watts per kilo for a minute. That's an elite athlete, no question. But if you want to win this race, you're going to have to make numbers that are probably even going to be a little bit better than that. Let's see if George Mills Keeling, I'm a big fan, can ride out of his skin. Nathan, I see the women now picking up the Tête de la Course of the Vanguard, and that's going to have the alarm bells ringing. Emily Newsom is back at it here.
Murray, the instigator. Murray. Interesting to see here. Now, Newsom, Tracy trying to follow it up here. Thorvaldsen from Turbo covering, it looks like. Backus is still in there as well. Keller. But are they going to do damage again? This time it's Saris Infinite, though, that's on the attack. They have dropped off Pitzer, so that Evoke rider will no longer be there at the back. Anna Russell sitting in. She's not going to be chasing out her teammate. This looks very coordinated here by Saris Infinite. With the rider off the front and sitting in, letting everybody else do the work to chase it back down.
Thanks for catching that. Emily, when you talk about Newsom, she's back in this group now. And as they've watched it dwindle down to, I'm going to say that's about 2 dozen riders or so, what you'd call the front group right now. But that is very dangerous, Caroline Murray. I mean, she comes in as a rider tipped with a good chance to win today, Nathan. So I asked myself, what do you think she's doing? Is she looking for a couple riders to come with her? Because we're coming up on the midpoint. We still have quite a bit of flat ground to cover before we take that dip down into kind of the foggy bottom of Richmond and then head up and make our way to the bottom of Libby Hill, where it's all going to go down. That's where the clash of swords is going to be happening. What do you think the tactic is here, Nathan?
Well, I think the reality is that 1 minute climbing might not be a specialty for a lot of these riders. And so, but because it's only 1 minute, not a 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute climb, all you got to do is hold your time gap if you get one until the top of the climb. You don't got to put out 10 watts per kilogram, 9 watts per kilogram, or whatever it might be that those winners, if it was all together at the bottom, you got to put out 7. Maybe 6, even it depends on how big of a time gap you can form.
If you have 8 seconds at the bottom of the climb, right. I mean, that saves you that 2 watts per kilo that you'd have to make, I think. That's fair to say.
Exactly.
Right?
So I have a feeling that perhaps there'll be some riders that are going to try and get away and see how much they're going to trust that time gap. And it's a dangerous game to let anything go out here. That's for sure.
Yeah, and again, it really shows you how tactically there's so many factors that you have to take into play out there. It's not just building up an advantage on the group. You have to look at how much effort does it take to do that, risk, reward, they're working together, or are they working together behind you? So you can see now the men have already gone past 20 kilometers. They're at 20.5 into this 33-kilometer race. It's really a race to the bottom of Libby Hill, and then a separate race. Who's around in the front group will take some inventory, and then it really becomes every man or every woman for themselves there at that point. Drafting isn't really going to be much of a factor. The speeds drop down. I mean, Nathan, when you're a non-elite athlete, you feel like you're standing still when you hit the bottom of the steepest parts of Libby Hill. It's stunning how demanding that climb is. A lot of guys.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Now,
I don't know.
Here, we're watching Scott Mclean here from Cannondale. And this rider here, be on the watch out for him. He won, it looks like, on the 3-hour Arctobahn climbing race, actually. 4.5 watts per kilogram average here, putting out a solid 10.6 for 15 seconds. We'll have to wait and see what he can do for that 1 minute marker. Maybe not the best that he could put out for 1 minute, though. We'll have to wait. He's been very aggressive, though. Scott, he kind of has been getting really antsy. I've seen this from him a lot, though, in the racing here. 4.7 now consistently, so 166 beats per minute. Now, Edifriere, he's out here for Legion as well. I better definitely watch out for him. He showed us what he could do, obviously, in the Tour of Gila. We've seen him up on the top of the Volcano KOM, and we saw the performance from him. We'll see if he is going to be set up well here today. I definitely watch out for him, though. He's got a strong kick. I think he's a climber as well. I'm not sure that he's their best sprinter, but I think on a course like this, I think he may be their best 1 minute puncher, perhaps, amongst the Legion crowd.
That's a good call, Nathan, no doubt. I'm keeping my eye on Vigo today as well. He's been doing a really good job of just staying quietly tucked into this group, keeping a low profile. I don't think his nose has touched the virtual wind once yet. Could say the same thing about our man Brett Boniface there. That man knows how to Canuck up when the time comes, and that time is not right now. He's doing a really good job just seeing him sitting right in the middle of this pack as well. Nathan, I like when you mentioned Etta Friere as a guy to watch today as well, for sure. Absolutely. I put him in the top 5, and he's one of these guys. Now, Vigo, who I was talking about, the 17-year-old, has been over in Europe, but rides for the Lux team under the direction of Roy Nickman. Absolutely one of the Americans. It's been so unfortunate for USA Cycling really to lose out on this whole season for some of those riders that were just making their way up into being able to represent the U.S. Internationally. I mean, your heart goes out to so many of the young people that have lost opportunities out here, and I can't wait for them to get back out and having at it. As I know all of our friends at USA Cycling are as primed and ready to go as you could possibly be. Uh-oh, Nathan, the twig is looking antsy.
Yeah, a little bit of a kick here off the front. I mean, a little bit. It's the self-proclaimed Eddie Merckx of esports.
Yeah,
from what I hear.
Yes,
so,
that's what
we'll have to wait and see if he can be a cannibal out there. Though, is he going to start just demolishing his pack or not? But let's talk a little bit.
If you don't believe in yourself, Nathan, if you don't believe in yourself, who do you expect to believe in you? Right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Real quickly though, here, T. Williams, Corey Williams, Jay Williams, all in this. All in. I didn't realize there's some serious. I mean, all the dropouts are here. Team
What?
Ribble
Wait,
showed
what?
up today. I mean, this is
Wait,
some
what?
pretty serious talent that's been showing up. I didn't realize how deep the field was out here.
So did you just say that Jay Williams is here as well?
I believe
Today.
I just saw. Let me
Interesting.
just double check here.
Yeah, no, I don't want to put you on the spot, but that's obviously an honor. I'm a big fan of. So,
Looking through here, I'm seeing Just Williams. Yep, in the
that's Justin Williams,
the
the superstar. I'm not kidding.
According to Zwift Power, according to Zwift Power,
Sure.
I am seeing Just Williams in the race. Now, I have not seen him on the screen here just yet to click on his avatar, but we'll go ahead and find him in just a moment to see how things are going so far.
Well, this gives me a big chance to shout out my favorite Zwifter, CJ Williams, who's the older brother of. So there's CJ, there's Justin, and there's Corey Williams, and then also Tyler Williams, who's from a different Williams family. Up in the three Williams brothers are living down in L.A. That's where they're from. Tyler Williams up. I think Tyler's from Santa Rosa. I'll get that fact correct. And then they have another teammate, Eder Friere, out here. They're all Legion of L.A. But the Williams brothers now, it's their team. They manage. I believe that they own the team. It's their concept, their property. They are amazing. It's been one of these stories, one of the best stories going in USA Cycling, and they're hugely talented riders. All of the names that I just mentioned are CJ, who's not racing here, but also brother, is like you. He's one of I think for level 45 Zwifter. Something like that. That just shows an incredible commitment to getting fit. CJ's lost a ton of weight. As someone who's been trying to do that myself, I can really relate to. Well, he's done. He's lost the weight now. He is a monster. So fit. So there you go. Watching Justin Williams right now at the Legion team. Nathan, it's going to be really interesting to see how he does on this last 600 meters out here. Wow, that's really cool.
Looking through, I am seeing a few comments starting to pop in over on the on the YouTube stream out here today, and I'm loving Scott Rattino letting us know that Thomas the Train is a beast. I didn't even know Thomas the Train was racing out here today. It's going to be a really useful engine. We'll have to wait and see.
See him right there. Actually, yeah.
Absolutely loving. Let me see if I can get a name around this. Or I think he's even racing 2B. So it looks like Thomas the Train might be up for grabs. Oh no, TBD bike. Excuse me. I thought that was to be determined. As far as his affiliations go, this is an absolutely awesome profile. 94 races, 10th place in the Wahoo Ride Series. Actually, just yesterday he jumped out there with a 4.9 watts per kilogram on that what became a TT yesterday. Actually, so good to see him. Did the TFC Mad Mondays. So this guy is a beast from what YouTube is letting us know. We'll have to watch out for Thomas the Train on this final kick to the line. I think we've done all of our laps at this point. I'm pretty sure we're looking at 5K to go to the Libby Hill after party, and just a quick little 5K. I think looking at 5K, the kind of speed that they're pulling here, we're under 10 minutes to the end of this bike race.
Yeah, and it won't even be much more than 5 minutes because there's a little bit of a dip as they drop down for a bit, cruise for a couple K, and then a bit of a false flat before they get to the bottom of Libby Hill. Wanted to shout out while we have a moment, Chris Rea, Nathan, coming back from some heart-related COVID issues to race here. So, Chris, very happy to have you back, my friend. I'm sure that was quite a journey. A lot of us can't even relate, can we, Nathan, to what he must have been through. But turning our attention back to the racing, that's going to be our man Williams now, Tyler Williams, moving up for Legion. So, Nathan, Legion is now setting the table. Let's go ahead and lock and load here. It just got real as we come up on 27K to go. I see that nice shout out from Braulio there.
Yeah, BJ Alfonso out there. Go Team PTZ. Then we're seeing Evoke Bike and Short saying Patrick W. and Brian H. Those are great shout outs. Especially, Brian Hodge is always a serious kick as well. Full Gas Team PTZ we're hearing as well. Lots of PTZ out here on the stream. So good to see all the support coming in for the cheering of each of the teams out here. We're going to stick in with the men's race. to their finish. No attacks right now on the women's side of things. Things are fairly calm. We'll take one last look here before we stay with the men for their final 3K or so. But it does look like current situation in the women's race. They still have a little over 10K to go. And they're going to do one more lap over on the upper parts of Richmond on the flatter section. And then we'll be heading on down. Amy D Foundation, I'm just picking up here. We got Captain Curry out here as well, it looks like.
Well, we learned a lot about the former 2008 U.S. National Road Champion, Catherine Curie, also out of Palo Alto, California, was she one of the stalwarts of the American racing scene going back a decade ago. So don't call it a comeback, because not only was she strong at Gila, she's back out here now. So Catherine, great to see you racing. Nathan, I think with the men now as we move into the finale, good to see it was Fiona again back up on the front there, but now this is it. I think the calm before the storm. This is like that moment with a tsunami where the water starts moving away from the coast and you wonder what's going on, and you know it's going to hit and it's going to be brutal, because the race to get to the bottom of Libby Hill is going to be, that's a race in and of itself, to tell you the truth, Nathan. This course really, I mean, once you get there, then we'll enter you into the finals, which is going to be a 600 meter, 6% average grade. As Nathan noted, it kicks up to a little over 8% for part of that climb on cobblestones. It's brutal, no doubt about it, but you even have to go through the gauntlet to get to that point.
Yeah, this is going to be fast and furious, and the lead-in, I think, is going to really be crucial. Where you stand, because of how quick the climb is, where you stand at the bottom of the climb is going to be just as crucial as the wattage you can put out. You know, I don't think that this is going to be one of those situations where you can trust being a higher watts per kilogram from middle of the pack or back of the pack. You're going to have to be around the top 10, I think, unless we just have a standout rider that just has an amazing kick over the top of here. I think with how much talent and how deep this goes, the percentages are going to be low of you being able to make up any ground on the front runners coming into this hill climb. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of fighting for position as they're about to head downhill and on over toward the industrial park, and then right on over toward Libby Hill as they go along the river.
We've made the joke before, Nathan, but winning this bike race is going to be more painful than passing a kidney stone. That's what you're going to have to go through on the climb, because
I don't want to know what that means, just so you know. I have no idea.
Yeah, right. It just sounds awful, doesn't it? And I mean, it is. That's what these athletes are able to do. The pain cave is no joke. I mean, this isn't the pain cave. This is a place worse than that. You've got no flashlight. You're scraping around looking for watts. Sweat is pouring off of you. You're literally, Nathan, going into tunnel vision at that point. It's a good thing that your bike doesn't have a rear wheel on it, because you would most likely be collapsing as you came over the finish line. I love it. You got to go all in, fully commit. As there won't be any test attacks on Libby Hill. It's one fully committed effort, and it's starting to string out a little bit
real
now.
quick.
Yep.
Real quick, we did see Newsom again on the attack. They have been relentless on the front of the women's race. Just want to give a shout out to that. Tibco has been here just trying to whittle things down, put attacks in. Stevens been sitting in. The plan, it looks like, support Lauren Stevens, support her in holding on to that GC overall in the USA Cycling Series right now. And it looks like Newsom has been an asset to that team, to that rider there all day long here on these attacks to just try and put the hurt on before they hit the climb. I think they're trusting that Lauren Stevens is going to come like a freight train up over the top of Libby Hill here today. Things have been covered, though, pretty well. It looks like all back together. One little shout out. I have not seen Turbo stick their nose in the wind much at all. 2 riders out there today for Turbo. Amy D Foundation as well there with Captain Curry we're seeing. A lot of riders just been allowing the Saris as well as the Tibco team do a lot of this cat and mouse games. We did see Velocity Vixen out the front just a little bit, but now calming right on down again as they're going to finish up their final lap out there for the flatter sections and head on over toward where the men are heading right now.
Nathan, if Catherine Curie is in that first 5 riders that hits the bottom of Libby Hill, she's going to be really hard to contain. She is a pure climber like you read about. So that's the Amy D Foundation rider that we're talking about there. It looks like Anna Russell is going to make a run at it. She's not going to make it easy for him, that's for sure. The rider out of New Zealand, as they roll up on 25K into a 33-kilometer Donnybrook. Russell taking her turn now. This is going to do some damage, Nathan. Who's getting up on that wheel? Is it going to be Stephanie? It is. So,
Stephanie
okay, this
Sidlick looking to go
yeah,
across
that's
here, it
going to
looks
turn some
like.
heads.
Yeah,
And
interesting to
again,
see. It's going to get shut down, though. It looks like PTZ doing the work here again. So now, again, real quick mention, it is Backus and Thorvaldsen sitting in. Let's jump into the men's race, though. This is it. We are into the final few K. We got it. We got to jump in here. Make sure we
lock line on
get
this
these
one.
final
Yep.
positioning now.
Yeah, so again, don't worry about it being exactly 33K. That number is insignificant. This is one of the most familiar. It's not even the actual finish line from the World Championships course. This would be the finish line that we have here at the top of Libby Hill. It's not even really the end of the cobblestones, but it's pretty close. You do 95% of that climb. We're now following
Look at the
Tyler
positioning
Williams.
here, Dave. Look at this.
So they're trying to set up their men on this Legion team. It might even be Eda Freire, the Mexican rider on this squad. He should be well suited now for Legion. It's an interesting
doing damage
dynamic.
at the back already, Dave. Look at the back of the pack. They're really ramping it up here. It's less than about 500
race
meters
is
to the
on.
start here.
The accelerator is down on the floorboard. You might as well duct tape it there because now this is no longer Richmond, Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to downtown Pain City. It is officially on like Donkey Kong on the front of this bike race. Nathan, this is going to be one of the most, it's all a little over 1 kilometer of racing remaining, I would say right now. They're going to make that hard right-hand turn onto Libby Hill, and then all hell will break
There's
loose.
the KOM banner.
All right,
There's
here
the
we go.
KOM banner. We're starting it now. Here we're at a 5% gradient. Now we're on to Liberty Hill. 174 beats per minute coming from them. Harrods there. Now beginning to the front. Downing. That's when it rush. Spencer Downing here now. This is going to be absolutely flying to the front. Seb now. Walter Swart didn't even know the sleeper of the day. Where has he been? But James Bevin making his way to the front now. He's looking for some points. 5th overall in the series. George Mclean. That was your call out there, Dave. Will he be able to hold on? It's very early to make his way to the front, though. He is there. Mueller from HDR now making his way to the front. Jaden Yager, though, very strong rider here to the front, coming out of the Wisco. But here's 13 watts per kilogram. Boniface now looking to take over. Your current series leader, trying to show why he is dominating so far. It's around the corner, the finish line. It's within sight now. Plushin Moore trying to come across with Vigo Moore, the VRT rider. Vigo Moore to the line. Vigo trying to shut it down, but Boniface, Corey Williams. No, not going to happen. It looks like it's Boniface across the line. Williams was right there.
And Vigo, the 17-year-old, Nathan. So I'm going to say that, well, did Vigo get second or was it Corey? The Legion work was tremendous. They almost got Corey Williams up there, but that's how you Canuck up, ladies and gentlemen. Brett Boniface, who comes in as one of the top-ranked esports riders in the world today, delivers here at the Libby Hill after party. And he comes in as one of our top-ranked riders in the USA Cycling Saris the Pros Closet Series as well. Oh, man, it was Williams just getting the better of Vigo Moore there at the finish line. Well, you tipped James Bevin. He did not disappoint. Let's take a look at your top 10. It's Boniface, then Williams, then Moore, Bevin, then Juan Cruz Araldi. For 6th place, it's going to be the Swedish rider, Parabakar. Tyler Williams did a lot of work there. Ends up in 7th. Brian Hodges in 8th. Shell Fowler in 9th, and the Twig rounding out our top 10 for the A's. We still got the women out on course, Nathan, and they're coming in hot.
Yeah, women are going to be jumping in real quickly here, and we'll save the replay for after the women's race, just so that we can make sure we got all the coverage here coming in with the women's side of things, though. Absolutely amazing race, though. And super deep field, and Boniface here showing us why he is currently leading there. Williams, he waited to the last moment, and actually, did you see Williams had a much bigger kick, way bigger kick when it came to the line, but it just was not, it looked like it was just timed a little bit off there, maybe not knowing the course, because he came over the top at 13 watts per kilogram, it looked like, but had more, it looked like, to give to the line, I think, and just it was the timing thing, I think, from Williams on this Libby Hill.
Yeah, and so much like we've talked about the Tibco team and how they've embraced racing here and become a big part of the Zwift community. Well, same thing with Legion, but they're a couple weeks behind, right? So that was a big one there for Corey Williams. He will have learned a lot, and Corey Williams is going to be winning races like that. There's no question. I'm seeing some chatter about Fiona Schroeder, big fan for this young German rider. She's going to represent the German space program and try to launch herself into orbit out here, Nathan. As you can see, she's been well positioned here, riding near the front but not on the front, as this group now, this select group, is clearly the group of our champion here. We're going to find out who wants it more, but you see that German flag has been well represented. It's going to be interesting to watch how Lauren Stevens decides to parse this one out here. Stephanie Sidlick, again, the rider out of Pittsburgh, who's been riding very well near the front. Takashita is there. Watch out for her. The Japanese rider has represented well over the last few weeks here at our USA Cycling. Thank you to Saris. Thank you to the Pros Closet for making this possible here on World Bicycle Day.
Yeah, real quick little shout out as well to all the people tuning in over on YouTube. Today only on YouTube and Twitch on the day, so thanks a lot for everybody who's tuning in. If you haven't done so already, just want to let everybody know, turn on those notifications. It does help for you to know when we do go live. Hit those subscribe buttons. The YouTube channel is growing really well as of recently, so you can watch the VODs of all of the past broadcasts as well. Plenty of great ones in the last couple of weeks and months, as we've had a lot of new riders jumping out on the platform here. But quick little shout out as well that, these ladies that are watching the live stream, if they're unfamiliar with this climb or how this might, play out, just saw, and might be thinking a little bit more about that positioning that we were talking about and when to go. We kind of looked like it was around that final corner. It's all in, or it's already said and done.
Agreed. 100% agreed. And you can really, they're racing before you hit the start of the KOM there as well. It's important to note that the racing begins. I would say the finale mode begins when you're at about 1.5K out from the line. Anna Russell moving up. There you go. Nice shout out. I wonder if that's a relative there for Fiona.
Here now, 185 beats per minute, though it's pretty high, and we're starting to get into those final kilometers now. They're going to go along the river, and then it's just a left-hand turn. You'll see the red KOM little cone on the right-hand side. They'll go over little red dots on the road, and that's when you know that about 1 minute effort is beginning. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. We're seeing Olivia Barrow in here. Good to see Olivia as well, jumping on in. Good to see you. And Classics Dave commentary coming on in as well from Ian Rempo, Matthew Gardner. Yep, thanks a lot, Matthew, as well for all your work and helping put this together. Coming from Saris, the Pros Closet. So that's a ton of effort put on by them in order to make this happen.
Thanks, Matthew. Amanda Wendorf having a good ride today, Nathan. I've seen her name circulating in the news there up near the front of this group. Wait, this is the moment, again, that ticking time bomb vibe, where if you're in this group, you know that one of the most painful 2-minute efforts of your life is coming up here. Going up against Lauren Stevens. And Nathan, I'm happy to say this and own it. Lauren Stevens now is, absolutely, I'll put her up against Mariana Vos in an e-race. Anytime, anywhere. She has done her homework. She's back on her A game. She's motivated. Lauren Stevens, this is going to be a really good run for her career. When you look, she represented the United States at the World Championships. She's had some big UCI wins, but I think the sweet spot is just coming up here. Once we get back to in real life racing, I'm expecting to see her in Tokyo making a difference for the U.S. national team. I'm looking forward to seeing that announcement coming out when the time is right from our friends at USA Cycling. A big thank you to them for keeping the spirit alive there, as bike racing is an important part of so many people's lives. And I really appreciate the fact that they respect that. And we're right now looking at this group, Nathan. They're coming in hot. Here we go. Right here, right now. Race is on. Big group together,
Evo
Nathan.
Here. Interesting to see Jackie Herrig to the front there. I wonder if that was on purpose to try and drive the pace, or maybe just looking for positioning and accidentally sticking her nose in the wind a little bit. It is very difficult if you depending on the view that you use. I've found that first person point of view really makes it a lot easier to know when to back off the watts. Sometimes you can overdo it a little bit and find yourself in front of the pack because you put so much power out. Some of these riders here, though.
That's a pro tip, ladies and gentlemen. That's our pro tip of the week for sure.
Newsom,
Nathan, the race begins
here we
there.
go.
That's the
It does.
point. This is it.
Left-hand
Yep.
turn, and now it's going to be all about getting to the front here. Schroeder now, 4.2 watts per kilogram. We saw her on 185. How many beats does she got? 189 right now here. Wendorf to the front now. Solid little kick on the Cervelo now, it looks like. 166 beats per minute.
Amanda.
Berrigan again taking over.
Yeah, got to give credit. This is your breakthrough rider today, Amanda Wendorf here in the white jersey. Stephanie Sidlick, I saw her in real life at the Tour of the Gila, really impressing people. She's obviously positioned well. Nathan, throttle opening up. Now, I'm amazed at how many women are holding on. Emily Newsom doing a fantastic job, but everybody's got to have their head on a swivel looking for, there she is with the pink cap. Lauren Stevens is holding back, keeping the powder dry right now. As a matter of fact, I'm a little surprised to see that we've got a jailbreak going on here. Now it looks like Hartzell, Murray, Tracy. Very interesting what's happening up on the front.
Yeah, and now we just see Saris taking over here. Here comes Amy D Foundation, though. This look like Catherine Curry going to follow up immediately as soon as they saw Stevens head to the front. Lauren Stevens, 8.3 watts per kilogram coming from her. Catherine Curry now leading things out.
Stevens
it's going to get
commits.
down to a 3% gradient. Now 0% for a moment. The draft matters here. It's going to kick up, and this is going to be the final time they see any flat gradients. It's all to the line now here, Dave. Lauren Stevens, 6.9 watts per kilogram. Tracy now is looking to follow with that 8 watts per kilogram. 2 more turns. It's going to be this left and a sharp right. You can see the K1 banner just over the top here. Who's going? It looks like it's going to be Stevens. 10 watts per kilogram coming from Lauren Stevens, showing why we're seeing a repeat
Command
series
performance.
leader. Woo! Series
This
leader here
is
off
it.
the front. She is gone. This race is over. Right-hand turn. Murray now, it looks like from Saris, going to be looking for second. And
Out go the
right
lights.
to the line. It looks like it's going to be Murray. Keller. That's going to be the finish. Oh, my goodness. That's your top 3.
So,
what a kick to the line there from Lauren Stevens.
somewhere in Belgium, an old man is going, oi, 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 oi. That is something else, because that's to do what you just witnessed.
Sure what that means.
It just means he's impressed. It means he's impressed, because that was a wattage goddess right there. Lauren Stevens,
awesome.
folks, putting on yet another show for us. Lauren, thank you. It is always awesome. Nathan, I tried to underserve that as far as talking about Stevens in that group, how talented she is, to be fair to the other riders. When you've got a target that big on your back and you can do this time and time again, this is a world-class athlete, ladies and gentlemen. And as a USA Cycling can be, yeah. So really the race is for second. By the time that they make halfway up Libby Hill.
Yeah, absolutely flying. I mean, that was an amazing attack there. We'll see Murray here now holding on for second, right to the line there between Keller and her, but nope, gonna hold on. Keller had 10 watts per kilogram, was trying to come over the top. Takashita 0 watts per kilogram for a moment, rolls across the line just behind. It looks like Takashita. We'll get the results here in a moment. But it looks like
Keller just got the better there, right? Yeah.
You know, I have a feeling between Takashita and Daniela Estrade, though, I think Takashita went to 0 too quickly. As you see, Lauren Stevens, obviously, Caroline Murray, Madeline Keller. But Takashita looks like able to overtake Daniela Estrade. And then it will be, it was actually Takashita holding on. So
she did. You're right.
Yeah, she did hold on there. Then Daniela Estrade for Revo, followed up by Antonio Reznikov. And then it's going to be Catherine Curry, Leah Thorvaldsen, Stephanie Sidlick, and Clara James here. That is your top spots there. Let's take another look, though, real quickly. We do have the men's finish there as well. Let's see if we can go ahead and see how things played out there before we look at the results. And here we go. Boniface here now. There's the kick from him. And this was the winning move. Very similar to what we just saw in the women's race here. Herod there trying to follow things up. It does look like the Frenchman there for the Equal Team, Pluhinic. They're trying to come across. We'll have to wait and see if he was able to hold on to that. There goes Moore. There's that 13 watts per kilogram. Look at Williams. He's a full second back here. 13 watts per kilogram. Tried to time it. Look at how he comes around the corner there. The blue and white, the timing. It was all about the timing, because look at him come on as like a freight train, 13 watts per kilogram, but it was just a little too late. It looks like he was just able to maybe grab that second or third. We'll have to wait and see here. And yes, he did. Look at this. He actually grabbed that second place there just barely.
Wow. So again, we just wrapped this one up about 5 minutes ago. The Canadian delivers again. Congratulations, Brett. Well, Richmond, Virginia never disappoints. Boniface, Williams, Moore, that's your podium. James Bevin for fourth. Juan Cruz Araldi in fifth. Parbacher, Swedish rider in sixth. Then we've got Tyler Williams, Brian Hodges, Shell Power, and the Twig. That's our top 10 for the A's. Now, we had the B's, the C's, and the D's out racing on the same course. It's a big day for USA Cycling racing in multiple waves throughout the day as well here. Our 7th of 10 in the series. Here's a look at the B's with Matt DeLisa in his USA Cycling number. If you do have your USA Cycling number, there'll be a special breakout that you can find. And big thanks to Richmond Region Tourism. We got special prizes you should look into today as well. Ian Mulligan for silver, Blake Herbold in third, taking the bronze. Then we've got Dustin Byers, Ryan Tweeten, top 5, Anwar Gorham in 6th. That's going to be London Warburton in 7th, Ben Chapman, Judd Nutting, and First Russ. That's your top 10 for the B's. The C's have Andreas Kasparek, Daniel Mould, and Chrisholm McDonald. That's your top 3. Juan Vendrome, Justin Evans. That rounds out your top 5. Then it's Stephen Mays, Nicholas Latham, Drew Wetherington, Christopher Ukta, James Fowler, rounding out your top 10.
And the D's,
and they're out racing still.
I think they're out racing still. We'll see if we can bring in anything for the women's side of things here on the B's. They may still be out on course. Yeah, they are. So we're going to go ahead and leave that alone. Dave, been some great racing out here today. Real quickly, I do want to give a shout out here that the Richmond Region Tourism, they definitely are all about this race out here today with USA Cycling. Obviously, they brought bringing world championships to U.S. soil, and they're loving that this race is out here today. Wanted to make it an iconic thing, so they did provide some 3 prize packages that will be randomly assigned to the race day participants. Actually, so I believe that's specific to the USA Cycling. Whether or not I believe you have to be a part of that USA Cycling. I'm not absolutely positive. I believe that is because it's probably
I'm
only
gonna
to
go
the
with
States. I think it's going to be only to North American or at least the States. So, but they did give away a Richmond Region Tourism draw string bag, a mini Bluetooth speaker, as well as USB phone fan and a sports Richmond tumbler. So, thanks a lot to the Richmond Region Tourism for doing that.
Richmond's an awesome place to go ride your bike. They were such wonderful hosts for this Worlds. It was a really successful event for that community. Nathan, if you go to Richmond, they still have the finish line. The World Championship stripes are painted across the road there. It's become a permanent part of that community. So the positive impact that bicycles have in this community has been everlasting there. So thank you, Richmond. And I'll always remember that as one of the best weeks of my life for sure. So I can't wait to get back. And thanks, Richmond Region Tourism, for helping host today.
Yeah, thanks everybody as well for the racers. There's no race without you guys. Thanks a lot to all the viewers for hanging out. Great job to all the riders out there. One more shout out, guys. Make sure to hit those follow buttons that are out there so you do get notifications whenever we go live. You can also see the schedule over on our socials. We'll see you guys tomorrow for WTRL TTT number 59. A lot going on with WTRL. We're super excited for that one. So Dave and I will be back on ZCL. As always, everybody, thanks for tuning in and ride on.